Hello, my name is Benai Wright. It's good to meet you all. I've really enjoyed this course and getting a better understanding of values leadership and learning from everyone's perspective on how to apply some of the principles of ethics that we've learned. Well, as we all know, for the session five response paper, we were tasked with writing a case study based on factual events. Now, these events they could have either come in from our own personal life experiences or from an event that we're familiar with. For my case study, I actually drew upon an experience I had several years ago as an airman in the U.S. Air Force. Just some background. Uh, the nature of aircraft maintenance requires a significant attention to detail and integrity to report issues and that that no matter how minor or how major for that matter that are found at whatever stage of say a routine inspection. Um, there is motivation a lot of times to overlook minor defects because you think, oh, nothing, this will not affect the engine catastrophically, but really it is our responsibility to isolate all possible defects on a jet engine. With that being said, my case study involved a situation where a senior enlisted man to me had, um, due to some personal problems, had sort of become disillusioned with the Air Force as a career, as an organization. Um, he had some personal problems, some professional issues that just caused a sense of apathy to set in. In fact, it got to the point where he was in a constant state of discipline. I mean, he was getting letters of reprimand. He even got escalated to our squadron commander for Article 15 and sort of a probationary period where he was not allowed to work. He even wasn't even allowed to wear our uniform anymore because his performance and his integrity had fallen so far down. Well, this probationary period lasted about 6 months, and he was allowed to return to our flight, and at which point I found myself working for him. I was assigned under him under a pod, and even though I had gained some experience and functioned as a what we call a pod chief, he did have extensive experience above me, so I was assigned under him. Well, one day him and I were talking and just sort of morning banter, and I noticed he would shine the flashlight up to the engine. We were standing away from the engine about 5 to 10 feet, and he'd shine the flashlight and then copy down notes on his piece of paper. This paper is something we call a gig sheet, which is where we would write down all the defects we found on an engine. I found myself wondering, what is he writing down? What is he doing? And then he would make a point, and then I'd see him shine the flashlight on a component on the engine, and jot down notes again. Finally, I asked him. I said, you're not you're not I put it you're not making notes of defects that you're not really inspecting for. Well, he proceeded to just sort of dismiss me as a less knowledgeable airman, and said, I know what I'm doing, and I can, I know how to fix this. Well, this was unacceptable for me, so I found myself with a dilemma. Should I report him to our superiors with the situation he was in, possibly getting him in further trouble, or should I ignore it and sort of um, cover up his faulty maintenance? Well, um, in the case study, I presented situations where some principles of ethics, some of the duty to stakeholders with the value model, and how my ultimate duty to the American people essentially forced me to make the right decision, which would have been to report him, to get him off the plane. But I also talked about my duty to him as a friend, my loyalty to him as a friend. Um, and in my situation, I chose to be loyal to him. I didn't tell on him, but I did. I would go back and re-inspect areas that he inspected that I knew he didn't look at properly. It all worked itself out. He ended up getting in trouble for other things, but this did put pressure on me and on the rest of my flight, because this is time I had to take away from other things I could be doing to be um, covering up maintenance that he did or didn't take care to do properly. Well, within the context of our ethics principles, I found that even a utilitarian approach to analyzing this situation from an ethics perspective would say that there was no positive utility out of him doing this sort of non-maintenance, for lack of better terms, for him to just ignore potential risk and potential defects had no utilitarian purpose in the long run. It served to no good. So from that perspective, the correct ethical decision for me to make again would have been to report him. And as stated before, my duty to the stakeholders ultimately was the American people. So if I analyzed the situation that way and judged who I should have aligned my loyalty with, it would have been, again, the United States Air Force as an organization that is organized to serve the safety of the American people. Pretty much that's it. That's how I analyze the situation. Again, my perspective at the time, without the knowledge I have gained now with my life experience and educational experience, I decided to show my loyalty to him as a friend. But upon further consideration, a better decision would have been to report him and maintain the integrity of the Air Force as an entity, and as well as the safety of the crew that flies that aircraft. With that being said, I enjoyed having everyone here, being able to learn from everyone in this class, and I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Thank you.